Like to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to start off today with a presentation of the Clermont County Convention Visitors Bureau. And I don't see, oh, Sarah, you're here. Okay. I was looking at this group over here. I didn't see you over here. You going to present? Or are we going to make Joel do this today? Nope. Okay. Jim's here too.
We're all hiding.
Everybody's spread around.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak today. For those that don't know me, my name is Jim Kamadeka. I'm the interim president of the Clermont County Convention and Visitors Bureau. To my right is Sarah Gleason, our director of marketing, and in the back there, if he could raise his hand, Joel Barnhill, who is our director of sports and events. And we have a great opportunity today, and I'm very pleased to be here to talk about one of the most successful events that we have ever had, and that is the largest club national regatta in U.S. rowing history, right here in Clermont County, and it just finished up here in July. This particular event I love to talk about, and you can see by the screen, and we have a collateral piece that was put together too, is a 5-day event. It's usually on a 2-year cycle, and so what happens is they award it for 2 years, and then we got a bonus 3rd year. And so getting that bonus 3rd year was just phenomenal for us. It resulted in over 1,650 room nights with an economic impact in our community in that 1 5-day period of over $3 million. It's absolutely stunning to have this. And so to have that bonus 3rd year, we will be back in the cycle. We will have the opportunity to host it again. We've talked to the folks at U.S. Rowing. They've moved it to the East Coast this year because a lot of their other events are on the West Coast. So it will be back, and the only reason, I will tell you right now, and the only reason that it will be back is because of the community involvement. This community stands up and really puts its money where its mouth is, in the sense that we have volunteers, and I'm going to let Sarah tell you a little bit about the volunteers. This was her daunting task. And then we're going to have the opportunity to acknowledge some of the volunteers, some of the most important volunteers for this particular event. So, Sarah?
I'll chime in as well. So the 1,600 room nights, that's in Clermont County alone. So we can't track hotel rooms outside of Clermont County. So we know that teams were staying as north as Oxford and as south as Northern Kentucky. So they were staying really, really far and then had to drive all the way out here to come to the event each day.
And I can add one other point. I keep interrupting and I can't help myself. But that doesn't include the parents and all the spectators that were coming. And we had literally hundreds and hundreds of spectators coming in, as our good friends at the Civil Air Patrol can tell you, as they were trying to park cars, and the folks at Developmental DD were trying to shuttle people in. So there were hundreds of other people, but we can't track those because they do not. The way we track it is they book through a block. We set up blocks of rooms, or actually U.S. Rowing sets up blocks of rooms, and then the teams book through those blocks. And so we cannot track with the parents coming in. But I, for a fact, spoke to literally dozens of parents, both at the lake, at Jungle Gyms, and down in New Richmond on the riverfront. So I had the opportunity to speak to any number of those parents out there. I'll go with the statistics here. The 114 different crews from 28 states, so over half of the United States was represented here in Clermont County. We had athletes from 2 different countries, which made it an international event. Like I said, it was the largest U.S. rowing event ever. And it has increasingly grown, as you can see by the chart on the bottom. Year to year, it keeps going up. And so they were absolutely ecstatic with the number of entries, over 1,700 entries. 1,700 entries into all the events that went into place with almost 2,000 athletes. And again, we had Olympians that were here participating right here in Clermont County, and Paralympians that were here in Clermont County. And the Paralympians, I did have the opportunity to meet with them and Channel 12. They were interviewed out at the lake, and they actually one had her silver medal from the Paralympics in Rio. And it was pretty impressive to be able to hold that and then actually look at it too, because those medals are specially made, and when you shake the medal, it has like a little bit of it has something inside. That rattle tells you that it's a silver medal, because some of the Olympians, the Paralympians, are blind. So even the medals themselves, I had no clue about. I learned are special in something like that. Now I'll leave you alone.
I will chime in as well. So you can see that Canada and Chile were represented at the event. We've had the event 3 years in a row. All 3 years were international competitions. So we've had different countries come for each year. And what is interesting about having an international company? So this is a U.S. rowing event. This is through the United States. So these countries that travel here, they actually cannot win anything. They can compete, but they cannot win an award. They can be the first place on their event. They can, their team can be the overall winner, and they will go home empty-handed because it is a United States event. So they really only come here to compete against some of the best rowers. So, kind of a fun fact for you. So like Jim mentioned, this was a huge, we had a lot of community involvement for this event. You can see up at the top some of the donations that were given, and then this is just a few of the logos you can see down on the right side, all of the corporate sponsors for the event this year. To put it in comparison, in 2015 we had 4 corporate sponsors, so we really worked with Joel. I'll give Joel credit on that. He's worked really hard this year to up that number of corporate sponsors, which is the less money that we have to put into the event, which brings that economic number higher. So you can see up at the top we had 600 lunches, daily breakfast, waters. We never received money through a donation. It was all in-kind donations to help with the event operations. So they were a big help for us this year. So I wish some of them could be here. You just can't put a dollar amount to the help that they provided from an operational standpoint. And then my favorite part is volunteers. This is my 3rd year in a row doing volunteers. I think it has progressively gotten a little bit easier for me. We're starting to gain a ton of groups that they just come back year after year, and they're so willing to help and so willing to give a large amount of volunteers. This year we had a total of 519 volunteer slots over a 5-day period from Wednesday to Sunday. That included the shuttle service, the parking, the cleanup crew with trash, and then U.S. Rowing provides us with a list of volunteers that we have to supply that is contracted each year with us. The majority of those 500 volunteers are contracted through U.S. Rowing, so we absolutely have to provide those.
When she says contract, it's our responsibility to find them per the contract we have.
Yeah.
So U.S. Rowing doesn't go get them. You're looking at it right here.
Yeah, it turns into a task, but it's always there's always a fine line between people. Oh, Sarah, July is so far away. Come back with me later, and then there's like a 48-hour time gap that the next couple of days is, oh, I've already planned my vacations and stuff. So there's always a sweet spot for me that I have to find. But like I said, I've been doing it 3 years in a row, and some of these groups, it's just a phone call like, hey, you coming back? We got this. Let's rock and roll. So it's been really nice creating those relationships. And then in 2016, we created a give back program, which has been a huge blessing for both my operations and I think for the volunteer groups as well. So the give back program is for any group that donates 10 slots or more will donate money back to their organization. As the slots continue to fill, if they give more than 10, that money increases on the donation amount that is given to them. And we gave a total of $6,000 to organizations that that volunteered, and you can see a long list of them there. And it sounds so cliche, but we really could not operate this event without volunteers. Not in any capacity could our staff handle this event without our volunteers. So I always, it's like a near and dear to my heart that, I spend a lot of time with these people preparing for the event and training with them on what they're going to be doing. And then, during the event, we're out there for, 100+ hours with them. Civil Air Patrol was out there longer than I was, the majority of the day. So they spend a lot of time with us, and then you can't say thank you, enough. So we're really, really excited to recognize some of our big volunteer groups today, but some of the groups that aren't here, you can see the list of all of the groups that did receive money with the Give Back program. But we had other groups that gave 5, 6 volunteers, and those groups are just as important. Those individual volunteers were just as important as some of these bigger groups. So we wanted to thank them today as well. And then we have so something cool. Joel worked really hard on this again. We had to work with Homeland Security and ODNR to be able to get drones at the event. And you can see we got really, really cool footage. These are some still shots, and then we got some videos. So what we did, we created, we got a drone out there to do live footage of the event. So they kind of hovered over the event and watched the races live. It was streaming on YouTube, so parents that couldn't make the trip, or coaches, or anybody that couldn't make the trip could watch it live and watch these rowers compete. So it was really cool. We were actually the first venue to come up with that idea to have a drone, and it's been really, really cool for U.S. Rowing to operate that, and they're actually encouraging other venues to use drones just because it's so easy and it's really cool. And you can see some of these really, really cool images that we got.
And it was not only live streamed on YouTube, but there was an announcer too, former WVXU radio personality who was live the finals, announcing the finals. So it was incredibly exciting. I saw many of the athletes out there with their phones live streaming it and listening to it. And it's, when you think about the amount of time that these young folks put into qualifying for these events, it literally is a whole year to get to this event and then try to excel. So to see their friends and colleagues live on YouTube with a real sophisticated announcer, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we compare this event to like the Boston Marathon, where you have to qualify at a fun day for another event, that they have to qualify at another rowing regatta to be able to compete in this event. And kind of like Jim mentioned, we had a lot of momentum this year with volunteers, with media coverage was a really, really cool one for us. We had Local 12 was out there 2 days, Channel 9 was out there for a day. I had all of the local newspapers, the Cincinnati Enquirer, and then we had 5 national rowing magazines in attendance that we were able to show around the venue and show off the venue and some of the work that we've done and the operation and stuff. So we've gotten it was a really, really good event. It was very smooth, from a weather standpoint, from an operational standpoint, and we have to give all of our credit to our volunteers on that one.
Well, before we wrap up, if I could say one more thing, and then we'll give these, is the fact that we have a gift in Harshaw Lake out there. It is one of the premier rowing facilities in the country. And what makes it premier is the fact that it's uniquely fair. It's a very deep lake. There's not much of a current, so if you're in lane 7 as opposed to lane 1, you're not going to get the benefit of a faster current out there, which is some of the problems you have at other locations. And that's why this particular venue right here in Clermont County is so well liked by the athletes and coaches, and why U.S. Rowing, A.J. Dominique at U.S. Rowing has told us that it will be back. We overstayed the cycle by 1, but we're going to get it back again. But just before we get into this, we do have another event next year that's already going to take its place. It's a very unique event. It's going to be Memorial Day weekend, and it's a geocaching event, and they refer to it as Geo Woodstock. For those that don't know what geocaching is, it's like a modern day treasure hunt. And you get coordinates and you find all these coins and other things with your phone. We're expecting 7,000 people for that event. So it's going to generate room nights that will probably exceed this rowing event. And we're coordinating with both Northern Kentucky as well as Cincinnati, to get enough room blocks to accommodate the people that are going to be coming for this event. So,
Jim, I'd say 7,000. It's probably by far the largest event that's ever come to the county. By far.
What's cool about the geocaching event is they have to register with the tracking with their geocaching name, and we know how many are in the household based upon that name. So this is the first event that we've ever been able to fully track how many people are in attendance. So that's what's so hard about rowing, is that we can track the number of athletes and we can guesstimate the number of coaches, but we really have, I mean, it's up in the air with how many, college coaches, how many spectators, parents, etc. So this is one of the first events that we've been able to really fully track from an attendance standpoint.
and in the geocaching community, of which I know about this much, it's already been identified as the fastest growing event ever for geocaching. The one that's going to be the Geo Woodstock Memorial Day weekend in 2017. The rate of growth already on marking who will attend is gone through the roof. So the folks that we're working with that are organizing it are incredibly excited. They constantly call me about it and talk about it. I don't know what they're saying all the time, but they're excited. So I'm excited. All right, let's go ahead and identify some of our
So
volunteers here.
some of our bigger volunteer groups we wanted to recognize today. I wish all of them could be here, but we wanted to recognize the ones who were out there with us all week. So the first one is Clermont Board of Developmental Disabilities. They did the shuttle service for us all week, and they were out there even before the event started on that Tuesday. So we really appreciate your guys' help.
Yep. Yeah, we gotta get to that. The shuttling back and forth, the parking, and we'll get into that with the Civil Air Patrol folks too, is one of the most complex parts of this particular event, because we're parking in several different locations throughout the park, and it's very difficult to get everybody where they want to be. And the compliments regarding the drivers and the folks that volunteered to drive the buses were top-notch across the board. And I heard it from parents.
And then the two groups that did the trash and venue cleanup was the Boy Scout Troop 237 and Cub Scout Pack 447. So we have Christy who's going to accept both of the awards.
And as an Eagle Scout myself, it's near and dear to my heart to see the Scout organizations out there.
So for Civil Air Patrol, and this is true for Clermont DD and the Boy Scout and Cub Scout, for our visitors that come to this event, there's way more to an experience than just rowing on the water. There's, the moment you pull up, are you going to have a good experience or a bad experience, and parking, and the venue, on what the venue looks like, on the shuttle service, how effectively that is. I mean, we can't thank them enough for being the first smile that they see. They were the director of first impressions, I guess, is what we always say. So they all created a great experience for us, but the Civil Air Patrol was the ones that stopped them and really started the event off great for them and started the day off good for a lot of the volunteers. So
in uniform.
And in uniform, yeah. So they were out there and they did a great job. So we wanted to thank them as well.
So the first station, Captain Shea was one of those guys that she mentioned earlier was probably sick of talking to me all week.
Thank you very much, sir. Pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it, Commissioner. So this is Lieutenant Rhonda Kaler and Flight Officer Dan Ranier. And Lieutenant Kaler was the one at one of our the secondary checkpoint, which is toward the beach, and it just kind of restricted when we started opening up the other lots, coordinating, you know, how many spaces were available down at the beach. So we just try to keep as much as possible for people having to leave the park and park somewhere else, and put additional strain on Clermont DD and the shuttle service. So when she got down there every day, no matter what the temperature or humidity level, apparently she was complimented highly on how she was able to keep her hair just uncovered and her uniform perfected. And in addition to that, you know, apparently she worked that checkpoint every day. So when I would work there, they'd be like, "Well, where's Lieutenant Kaler?" Yeah. Well, it's nice to see you too. I'm really hurt. But Flight Officer Dan Renier, he's also our unit operations officer, and was a very critical part when I was at the command post or working with Joel or Sarah or the shuttle service. He was helping to keep things moving. You know, so if something happened to me, God forbid, you know, continuity of operations was solid, and you know, a fully capable young man who is going to have a very promising career in the military when he goes down that road. So, anyway.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Sir, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
You were on the smile, even when you told me I couldn't park somewhere.
I know.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's all we got. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to stop us. It was an awesome event. I love working it. We're excited for what our sales team is bringing in for next year, and we have a lot of rowing in our future.
And before we do sign off, usually they have to hook me off stage like this, but I just want to say the staff at the CVB itself, Joel, Sarah, every Kathy who's not here, Margaret, everybody stepped up to the plate and literally spent from 5 in the morning to 10 at night out at the park, doing what was ever necessary to put the reputation of Clermont County where it needed to be on the top. So they all did a great job. So I'd like to have a round of applause for them.
Well, the CVB has done a great job, and over the last 5 years, and they're not completely responsible, but I believe they are responsible for almost a 40% increase in hotel stays in the county. And that's through conferences that they've brought in, tournaments, car show associations, and of course, you know, the rowing regattas, baseball tournaments, soccer tournaments, whatnot. So you guys have done a fabulous job. So keep it up. Keep it up.
You guys don't have to leave. We promise it'll be more fun.
Thanks again, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, we have in front of us August 23rd, the consent agenda.
Commissioner Gibble, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to move item 4 out of consent, move it into regular attendance.
Okay. So we have the consent agenda in front of us, and we are proposing to remove item 4 back to the consent agenda, or non-consent agenda. And with that change, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Just a second. Item C, are we going to look at it later?
Yes, it's at
Okay.
11 o'clock.
I just want to make sure. Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda minus item 4.
Second.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye?
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Uber?
Yes. And turning over to page 9, the non-consent agenda, item 19, to pay our...
Well, actually, do number 4.
Oh, you want to do 4 first? That's right. Go in order.
Good morning.
Morning.
Adele Evans, Assistant Director of Community and Economic Development. Item 4 is a recommendation of Andy Kupta, Director of our department, with the concurrence of Stephen H. Raybolt, County Administrator, to reappoint the following individuals to serve on the Clermont County Housing Advisory Committee to be responsible for providing the Board of County Commissioners a prioritized listing of specific housing needs and opportunities in regards to the future Community Development Block Grant CDBG program funding, as well as to offer guidance on the development of policies that can address these needs and opportunities effective September 1st, 2017 through August 31st, 2018. And the list of Housing Advisory Committee members are listed in the agenda.
Okay, can we get a motion then to approve item 4 to reappoint the following individuals to serve on the Clermont County Housing Advisory Committee as referenced in the table there in item 4?
So moved.
May want a second.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Ubel?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Abstain.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adele. Okay, then item 19, to pay our bills, Resolution 134-17 in the amount of $1,812,773.60. Can we get a motion for Resolution 134-17?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Ubel?
Yes. Item 20, Ms. Sheets, good morning.
Good morning, Suki Sheets of the Office of Management and Budget. Item 20 is a recommendation to approve a request to advertise for proposals. This will be for what we are calling the utility bill presentment, payment processing, and merchant services for Clermont County Water Resources Department. What we're looking for there are now quite a lot of vendors in the business that will process electronically payments for certain things. We have some vendors that are integrated with our utility billing system. So right now, if a customer wants to make a payment, they go on our website, they link to Official Payments, who is now our credit card processor for multiple types of county payments. This will allow them to be a little more interactive. I'm looking for someone that will be able to send text messages to people that their bills are due tomorrow. If you want to save your penalty, get them paid today, kind of things. I'm also looking for another way to communicate with people that will allow them to know that, maybe we have a shutdown in an area. We've got service disrupted, we know about it, we have crews on, and, we have just a whole nother way to maybe communicate back out. So I am only doing it for bills or utility bills because I want it interfaced with the customer's accounts to notify them of certain things. It doesn't mean that we will not ultimately go out and maybe look for a different vendor than Official Payments for the rest of the credit cards that are being paid, which would be tax bills, Board of Health, potentially court items, whatever's allowable under code to process through credit card payments. But this one I'm looking for more integration. So we're going to go out for proposal. We'll put it in a newspaper for 2 weeks starting on August 31st. We're asking for the proposals to come back by September 28th, where we will open them and read them, and then we'll start processing, going through the proposals and reviewing them. I expect quite a variety of different options on how to do this, but really it would be in addition to the way that they can pay now, which is Official Payments, and give them some stuff that they've been looking for, my customers.
Payments are changing daily, these.
Payments are, and we are absolutely behind times on this because we require that they either go through Official Payments if they want to use a credit card. They can go through Official Payments if they want to use their bank account, their checking account, but both of them have fees associated with it. I recommend to our customers that they actually look to their bank right now. A lot of banks will do online bill payment for people, but you still have to know your account number. You may not know how much is due if you don't have your bill with you. We have people that travel, they don't know, and I don't have a way to tell them on the internet how much is due at that time. This would tell them. This would be a two-way interaction. It would tell them what's due. It would give them the information. They set it up with this vendor with either their credit card account or their bank account, and hopefully the fees will even be less than what they're having to pay now.
Sure.
It's, yeah, and the security is not on our shoulders. All the security for that information will reside with whatever vendor this is.
Okay. Get a motion then to approve the request to advertise for bids for the utility presentment, payment, processing, and merchant services for the Clermont County Water Resource Department as referenced in item 20.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Yubel?
Yes.
Item 21 are our supplemental appropriations for this week. We have in our general fund, in the Commissioner's Department, regular salary increase of $6,000. We have to cover Steve's retirement. We also have his retirement payout appropriation of $12,310. In our risk management area of the general fund, we have an increase of $40,000. We typically appropriate about $50,000 in claims, and we've had additional claims this year. So I'm adding another $40,000 to that. That, again, comes out of our one-time money, as well as the appropriations for the retirements. And finally, in water distribution, other expenses, we have $90,000. I have not, until this point in time, appropriated the additional funds. Some of that's from the insurance claims on a vehicle that was totaled, and then some, we're appropriating some of the fund balance in order to purchase a couple new vehicles. We approved the 2 trucks, and now I'm doing the appropriation for those.
Okay. Can we get a motion then to approve the supplemental appropriations as referenced in item 20?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Yubel?
Yes. We want to try the add-ons then, Steve?
Sure. First, we have the Department of Job and Family Services, resolution to support State Senate Bill 125 relative to the Child Support Guidelines revision and execute a letter of support for Senate.
Commissioner Painter, you want to comment on that? Are you okay with that?
I am okay with that. I've talked to those representatives at CCAO, and they are neutral on that particular item. These are revisions that have been needed for a long time. The only negative that anybody had brought up there was the lowering of the schedules, the wage schedules.
Wage and contributions.
That was it, yeah.
Schedule. Okay. Would you like to make the motion?
I will move that we accept the recommendation of Teresa Ellison, the lead attorney, with concurrence of Brenda Gilreath, the Assistant Director of the Department of Job and Family Services at Child Support, to resolve to support Senate Bill 125 as it relates to child support guidelines and revisions.
Second.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Yubel?
Yes. And then the CTC,
Yes. We have,
First Transit?
My recommendation to authorize President Ubel of the President of the Board of County Commissioners to execute a second amendment to the management agreement by and between the County of Clermont and First Transit, Cincinnati, Ohio, ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 2/6/2012, subsequently amended on 9/24/13, extended on 1/15/12/15 for a second optional year, and 1/17 for additional one-year period effective 1/20/2017 through 1/19/2018. This is to correct the payment schedule in the agreement from the current period to reflect a 2.5 annual escalator increase pursuant to and compliance with Article 7 entitled compensation from the rate of $8,529.39 per month to $8,738.52 per month for a total corrected amount not to exceed $104,862,220 for the contract period, and further to adjust the payments made from January 17 through August of 17, the amount of $213 per month to be paid in a lump sum of $1,705.04. This was an error in the original contract that we approved earlier this year, and it was caught, and now we need to correct it.
Okay. Can we get a motion then to execute the second amendment to the management agreement between the county and First Transit, Inc.?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Yubel?
Yes. We will discuss the county recorder. Suki?
The CR recorder is in the audience if you
We have it scheduled at
11 o'clock.
Scheduled at 11.
Oh, is that, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Scheduled at 11.
you've already brought that up, Commissioner Painter. Okay. We have need then for executive session pursuant to 121.22, G2 and G3 of the Ohio Revised Code to first consider the purchase of property for the public purpose or the sale of property at competitive bidding and confer with the prosecuting attorney regarding pending or imminent litigation respectively. Can we get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Ubel?
Yes, we'll be right back. Okay, we are back from executive session, and we have a, let's see what they got. We've got the county recorder's proposal for supplemental funds.
If I may,
Yeah.
you actually recessed executive session because we're going to return to executive session.
Oh,
So I want the record to show we
Oh.
recessed.
we recessed.
executive
You're back, but
Yeah.
you will recess and return.
That's a good
Yes.
point. Okay. And the county recorder's proposal for supplemental funds. Okay. Deborah Klepper, county recorder. Would you like to read that? You have a copy? Do you have a copy, or are you going to just talk about your proposal?
Oh, I'm just going to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm Debbie Klepper, County Recorder. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about, I had sent a letter to you earlier in the month regarding the technology fund, supplemental fund. What I'm asking, I'm trying to do some long-term planning. And we're currently under an agreement. I come every 5 years and ask for money to supply my fund to pay the vendor and our web cost. And so that is usually $4. We're under a current agreement that really doesn't expire until the end of 2018. However, my new proposal was to come, and I've been doing some long-term planning, and what I'd like to do is we have a module of our system that's called Archive Viewer that our records from 1993 current are all on our main system. The module Archive Viewer, the records are from 93 to 78, and that's deeds and mortgages. However, that system is a real bear to use. Steve, you're smiling, you've used it. But anyway, my goal is to work to get those, to move those records onto our main system, and even go back a little farther to go back to 1970 with everything, to get really a 50-year, about, by the time we get this done, it'll be about a 50-year time frame for our records to all be online. So a year ago, and what you have before you, I did give you a paper that has an estimate or a cost estimate for doing that. And if you look at that, the estimate total was $846,000. Well, what I proposed to you in the letter was actually half that cost. It was at $7 a document for the next 5 years, terminating the agreement that we're under now. And I believe that I can achieve this whole project, or at least most of it, for about half that cost. I think I can do it with the monies that I would get at $7 a document. So the purpose for this was, the purpose for the estimate was to do some long-term planning. Have a lot of new staff members, so I needed to get them trained last year, and so we're ready to do half of it at least, or attempt to do half of it in-house, and then the rest my vendor would have to take care of.
Good. Okay. Suki? Any additions? The idea of being, I think here it referenced the request to reserve funds for the acquisition. You talked about appropriating for a period of time.
What, and I talked to Debbie a little bit before she presented this. What I would present to the board is maybe we not reserve those funds and move them out of general fund, but maintain them in general fund and establish an appropriation, a non-operating appropriation for the time period that Debbie needs in order to get these documents scanned so she can get her 50 years on. And we will fund that through general fund as opposed to pulling the monies out and putting them someplace else, which restricts them. So we'll still get it done, we would just get it done budgetarily a little bit different.
And we did talk before the meeting, and we're going to do this in segments. And so, if I can get a commitment to have that money set aside, then we can do it in segments. And it doesn't matter to me whether we do it at an agreement for a document price for 7 years and continue the $4, which will come due again next year at the end of 18. I'll be asking for the $4 again. Or if we go this route, it really doesn't matter to me as long as I can get a commitment so that we can move forward with the project.
That's fine.
And you don't have to make a decision on her proposal until December.
Correct.
So you can think about it, and I can talk to Debbie more and show her how I'm envisioning the next 5 years, 4 years, 5 years.
And if that's okay with Debbie,
Yeah.
then we can move forward.
I don't have a problem with that at all. Just would like to have a commitment that, do you have any questions about the recorder's office? Do you have any questions, how we
Well,
operate?
I understand you're trying to get it digitally so that it can be accessed.
I am.
And I support that, so
Good,
I'm for it.
good. It's real important to protect county records, and I
Yep.
think that we do a pretty good job downstairs. There's not a whole lot of books left, however, the ones that are there are getting pretty torn and tattered. So as many records as we can get into the system, the better off the county will be. You had a question?
What's the retention? I know I heard you say go back 50 years. What's the retention schedule?
Forever.
Just forever, okay.
Forever.
Okay.
Yep. Our records start back in, I believe it's 1803 is our earliest record down there. And those books, we just redid our first 3 deed books so that we have a lot of genealogy research and a lot of historians come in and look at those. So we redid those books a few years back, and the originals are pretty wore out.
But you're only talking about having the last 50 years digitally.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to see everything back to 1970. That way our abstractors can do a full title exam. Very rarely do they go back 100 years. Most of the time it's 40 to 50 years.
Okay.
And then the next project would, long-term down the road, I would like to see our real historic records from early 1800s, maybe up to beginning of 1900s. I think those are the most important to get online because those are the most used by the public for historical searches.
There's certainly fewer of those.
Please.
There are likely fewer of those records too, because.
A lot fewer.
Debbie,
Go ahead. So the path forward would be to continue to talk about this particular project. It sounds like there's favor for that project, but it's just determining, instead of pulling that out of the operating capital of the county, of funding it based on an appropriation style.
Rather than making a special fund, just
We'll
do it
make
out
a
of
special,
appropriation.
we'll stay within general fund and we'll make a special, they call it an org, it's like a department, and we'll put an appropriation in there every year until the project's done. So-
Okay.
And we'll use our one-time money, our fund balance to do that, as opposed to our annual revenue stream, which this extra $3 is included in our annual revenue stream that we use to just fund everything.
Well, Debbie, what I'd recommend to the other commissioners, I know you said you could do it for half the price. However, I'd say we appropriate the full amount, and if you could do it for half the price, that's great. But I'm not going to hold you to the half the price, but that'd be nice if you could get it there.
Thank you, because I don't want to.
You want to have a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, I do believe in my heart that we can,
Yeah.
that we can do it for a much lesser
You
price.
can come
than
back to us and give us the money back.
But absolutely.
You were saying you could do it for half. I was going to say, well, can you pull it down another 5%?
I have a very small staff down there, and unless you want to index, I don't want to commit to anything else.
We can
But
do
no,
it.
I think we can, we do have a small staff, and I've had some longtime staff members retire lately, and so we kind of had to level out. And we had to level out also in what kind of workload that we have. When we first were in the recession, we had a lot of foreclosures and a lot of refis, and so it was really kind of an up and down. You never knew day to day what to expect. Now we're at about, we probably process 30,000 on the average, 30,000 documents a year. So I based all my numbers on that 30,000 document size, and I think that's pretty reasonable.
Okay. So
Okay.
We'll entertain this again in December and decide, right?
Or before, yep.
Okay. Thank you for your time and
Thanks, Ed.
consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, then we will be going back into executive session, and we'll be back briefly. We are back from executive session. No decisions made, votes taken. And we do have an add-on, which I don't have a copy, but you can read that, Mr. Rabel.
Recommendation of Rennie Ramos, Chief Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, with my concurrence to execute a settlement agreement and release of claims, Julie Robertson and her attorney, Donald White, for the provision of a full settlement of a claim resulting on October 30th, 2015, and more fully set forth in the Clermont County Common Pleas Case 2016 CVH 01527 and the United States District Court, Southern District of Ohio, case number 1:16-CV-1089 in the amount of $52,000 plus related court costs pursuant to and compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein.
Okay, can we get a motion then to approve the settlement agreement with Julie Robinson for full settlement for the amount of $52,000 plus court costs?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Hubel?
Yes. And that's it, Mr. Rabel?
That's true. No more add-ons, sir.
Well, I think before we,
We have to first do minutes.
excuse me?
We have to do minutes.
We have to do the minutes, but I think just to include the minutes, I'd just like to thank Steve Raybold, our county administrator, for his last session, regular session today, with his pending retirement this Friday. And I would say over the years, he has done a fabulous job keeping things running smoothly and calmly during a period of time which is probably the most calm, halcyon years in the commissioner's office in probably 2 decades. So and I think that goes back to your ability and background and experience and demeanor and everything that you brought to the office. So thank you for everything. So
I would also like to thank this board, as well as the prior boards, Mr. Humphrey's board, who had faith in having me take this position to begin with, back, 7 years ago or so, plus my 21-plus years here at the county. I'd be remiss in not thanking the staff, actually, because I just view myself as a facilitator, pretty much, negotiator, occasionally need to stick, but usually as facilitator, and without the tremendous staff that we have here in the county, which I'm hopefully leaving you gentlemen with, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I want to make sure I thank all the staff and you gentlemen as well as the staff here in the BCC. So thank you very much.
thanks, Steve.
Somewhere I have a photograph of us in Kansas City.
That is correct. Back when I had hair, Ed.
Yes.
So we'll take a recess then as the minutes are prepared. Go ahead.
Sorry. I make a motion we approve the minutes as prepared.
And I'll amend that motion that we approve the minutes as prepared with the correction that Holly is making. There's a duplication in the minutes. Okay?
Yep. I'll make that motion.
David, you need to second that?
Mr. Humphrey?
Do I
Aye.
need-
Mr. Painter?
I'll second the amended
amended-
motion.
The amended motion.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, I thought
It's all
Mr.
right.
Humphrey went back and amended the motion.
no, it's okay.
Okay. Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Ubel?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Yes.
Nothing else? Can we get a motion?
Another-
Get a motion to adjourn.
Before we have that motion to adjourn, Mr. Ubel had a chance to say something to you, Steve, and so did Mr. Humphrey, and I just want to tell you thanks for all your help, as a new commissioner coming on the board. Your knowledge of working here for 21 years and serving other people on the board, although you sit in a lower elevation desk here, it wasn't on a different plane to me. It was on the same plane here, and your help and your knowledge to me was a great asset, and thanks so much. You will be terribly missed here, no question.
That's it. We're adjourned. We had a motion to adjourn? Somebody make a motion to
Motion?
adjourn?
Second.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Ubel?
Yes, we are adjourned. Thanks for coming.